show, we talked about our stories, one of them being handling and how the car has to sit on this track to be fast. We've seen that play out. Here comes Buhl. Buhl coming for second place. Whoa, gets way high. Can he keep it away from the wall? Oh, nice piece of saving.
Both got the big rear end wiggle there, and I think that upset Buhl's balance for sure.
Now you see Buhl just ahead from Tony Stewart, and of course, just ahead of him is Billy Boat. So Stewart sits in fourth, and he has first, second, and third lined up. Ending now on the fuel strategy. Talk about rising stars. Here's Kenny Brack. One win to his credit, looking for it. Billy Boat, he's sitting there looking for the opportunity to come into the lead and take the win. So the old masters seem for the moment to have the front of the field, with Davey Hamilton, the only one in the top 5 who has not yet won. Tony Stewart sitting right there and closing in. Now we do expect a stop. You see that Stewart got around Boat, and we do expect a stop from Hamilton anytime now. So as we come to the closing laps, we're very close to the final 10 laps of this run of 200 miles. And the former leader, Davey Hamilton, comes out of 5th place and into the pits. Buhl chasing Brack now.
Well, remember, the problem has continually been the handling on the cars. We look at Davey Hamilton, it just wouldn't turn. So Hamilton has to come in. He'll be able to take on some fuel that could benefit him later on.
And just that quick, Buhl got past for the lead at Sam Schmidt's car up high that he's coming under. He comes around and takes the lead away from Kenny Brack. But again, I asked the question, is he being sent out by the Menard team to try and draw other cars into battling with him and therefore use up fuel?
That's definitely a good strategy, Paul, but I got to tell you something. I think Buhl's in his own world right now, and he's just having at it as hard as he can. He wants to win this race.
Guys, you got to remember,
we're going to look at that pass of the lead again, just so you can see it. There is Buhl as he comes fast and takes over the lead. Jackaroo?
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to remember that Robbie Buhl is coming off of a several-week layoff. He didn't run in a couple of events when Menard decided to only run one car. For Robbie Buhl right now, this is a chance to prove that he should be considered one of the top drivers in the IRL. Whether that means running full-time next year for Team Menard or maybe going somewhere else. There's no team orders here right now, guys.
When he snatched the lead away from Kenny Brack, he became the 6th different leader of the race, Robbie Buhl. 167 miles an hour last lap around with just 8 laps to go now.
Well, I got to tell you, Buhl's lap speeds right now are just flying. I mean, he's in a class by himself. 168 mile an hour right now at this stage, the latter stage in the race. He's flying.
John Beacon.
Well, let's talk about Robbie Buhl and the fuel situation. I just spoke with John Menard, and he said they were probably going to take a risk and try and make it to the end. I asked, what about Tony Stewart? They said, well, right now, Robbie Buhl is in better fuel shape than Tony Stewart. Tony has to conserve. We may roll the dice with Robbie Buhl and try and get to the end.
Isn't that interesting? Because Buhl played a very conservative early and mid-race. Now we're to the end game, and he apparently has more fuel on board while Stewart was up there battling for the lead. And that kind of shows you the difference in personalities between those two drivers. One, very aggressive, go get him, get the win at any cost. That's Stewart. And then Robbie Buhl, who's very, very cautious. When the car is right, he'll keep it under him and just keep that lead in sight. Kind of reminds you of Rick Mears.
No question about it. He drove a real heady race today. He's driving a heady race. Right now he's on fire. He's running, getting everything out of the car that he can. And he's doing an awesome race out there.
5 to go now. Buhl the leader. You got a glimpse of Kenny Brack a moment ago. We'll look for him again. He runs 5 seconds behind the leader. Tony Stewart is 7 seconds behind the leader. And there's some indication now that they are going to pit Tony Stewart. And look at this. Buhl comes into the pits. Whoa, what a surprise this is.
Half turn on the front. Half turn on the front. Nice and easy, Robbie. Half turn. Yellow.
So Buhl, the leader of the race, comes into the pits, asks for a turn on the front half turn to try and get the handling, try and button the front end down a bit, I suppose, but that gives Kenny Brack the lead of the race in the closing laps here now. 196 complete. And look here. Look here, Tony Stewart is on the pit road as well. Both Menard cars come into the pits. Kenny Brack still the leader.
And of course, all he's going to do is get a quick splash of fuel. Both the Menard cars decided they could not make it. They tried, but the car sputtered. Now Tony Stewart's back underway.
course, the question will be, can Kenny Brack make it? He last stopped along with Billy Vogt on the 119th lap.
And Paul, maybe we can't answer that, but I'll tell you what the transmission was just now. Go to 5th gear. Go to 5th gear. Please.
Oh, look at this. Billy Vogt currently slowing on the backstretch. That answers that question. And so now you got to ask what's going to happen with the leader of the race, Kenny Brack. White flag comes out.
Car 14, turn 5.
Oh, they've stretched this all the way. We better make sure we know who second, third, and fourth is. Right now, he crossed the line with 10 seconds ahead of everybody else. Kenny Brack, Power Team car. And he turns for the line. Dual checkered flags from Brian Howard. Here's second place. That's Larry Curry talking to Tony Stewart.
All pit decks, stay with your car that you were assigned to.
And of course, A.J. Foyt absolutely ecstatic, but yet he's sitting here in a green timing stand, and right over our shoulder, you can see what happens with the team. You can see that Billy Vogt is climbing out of his car, but yet the other team members for the power team for Kenny Brack are jumping all over the place, running down to victory lane. Right now, A.J. is happy, but it's sorry sight, certainly for Vogt. A.J., that was amazing. One car out of fuel.
6th gear and turn in. I told him when I just coast. I knew it was close with both cars, but I was going to gamble.
Well, at least one of the gambles paid off. Congratulations.
Yeah, he split them, and it paid off for one of them. Interesting, though, two cars stop on the same lap. One makes it, one doesn't. So the driver does, in fact, really make the difference. So A.J. Foyt, who's had some surgery on his knee, that's why he's using the crutches, climbed somewhat painfully over the wall, though I imagine he'll scoot right down as Kenny Brack comes into the winner's circle. Now, with this winner's circle interview from Pep Boys, here's Jackaroo.
Well, Kenny Brack has a smile that actually exceeds the full face helmet here. A lot of paraphernalia get out. That's Tommy LeManche, the team manager for the power team. And don't forget, this is the second win for Kenny Brack, having scored a victory under the lights at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're going to try and get this black thing here is his water cooler that he carries on board. A lot of paraphernalia here. Kenny Brack is the type of driver that told me before the start of the weekend's activities he has learned so much from A.J. Foyt, because A.J. is a former driver, and he said some people forget that fact. Kenny, if we can get the helmet off real quick, we want to get a chat with you about what has to be one of the best Colorado fuel consumption situations we have ever seen. Kenny? He did say, he's admitting that he ran out on turn 3. Turn 4, you were out of fuel with the clutch fully depressed.
Yeah, I got to thank AJ and the power team and everyone. Matthew McCartan, thank you very much. And KT Kenya's good here. It's good to have this victory. It feels really good.
When they started the race, as we look at A.J. Foyt coming towards victory circle, he can't run over here because he's had his knee worked on. But when you started the race, were you in a fuel consumption situation, or did A.J. and the team give you a green light all the way?
We started the race quite conservative. I think I told you after qualifying that I care more about this than being first in qualifying, and we really had it hooked up, and I was in 6th gear for most of the time. I was actually conserving fuel when Buhl overtook me, but I knew that I didn't think they could go the distance. But
what kind of discipline does it take for a driver to let another guy go by him in that situation?
You have to have one eye in the mirror, see where the others are, how fast they're going, controlling the speed, and you do what you can. Again, I got to thank AJ and the whole crew and power team. Great, unbelievable.
2 wins. How many more can you get before the end of the season?
3.
Hey, Paul, he's pretty definite about that.
He knows what's left, doesn't he? As a matter of fact, he moves quite a bit in the points. From 5th to 3rd, he jumps forward. And Robbie Buhl and the gang, Tony Stewart, they're all down there talking over the race that they have just completed. They decide in the Menard camp to bring their cars in at the end of the run. And that turns the race over to Kenny Brack. And in doing that, as we look at the Coors Light race summary, at the conclusion of the race, Kenny Brack takes the win at a record 133.515 miles an hour with 6 different leaders. We'll be back.